Okay, so we had a technical glitch attended the previous session, so we're continuing. And what we were discussing very interestingly is the second flag that is forming in Dr. Reddy's. And as I was saying in the earlier recording, just 2 weeks back we talked about this flag and how it reached its target just in one day after breaking down on Monday. Tuesday, big candle, target reached, and if you were short, you made quite a bit of money. And yeah, there's another opportunity right now which presents itself. So this one is another 200 rupees, and from the price of 3,200 to 3,000 would be the target. So still some place to go. So GAIL, there is a downtrend flag. Really nice to see some textbook examples of flow theory in action here. And again, if you're looking at this move happened on good volumes, so the fall is happening on higher volumes, and the MACD quite nicely trending down. So quite a favorable shot on Dr. Reddy's. One more stock apart from already we have seen in Cipla and Lupin, I think Cipla, sorry, about how pharma has become quite weak. Right, so definitely a shorting opportunity here, and in terms of stop losses, anything above 3220, that's a pretty high thing. So want something a little tighter, then I would say even 3180, or definitely 3220 is definitely damn good. All right, once it's down, then maybe even 2950 reaching beyond the target of 3000 is definitely on the cards. All right, so that is Dr. Reddy's. And then moving on, Gas Authority of India. So that is sitting just at a nice uptrend, and very interesting to see what happens. So I would say, given the overall mood of the market, this downtrend is being now reaffirmed, and we do nothing, go long only above 460, and definitely short below 430, and below 410 it's going to go down to maybe 390 and then 370. So that's on GAIL. Another short. So did we put that? One sec. Dr. DRL, second DT flag. Rupees 200 down. Okay. GAIL is definitely a wait and watch. Gold bees, usually not looking at gold bees too much, but anyhow. So again, gold in a well-established downtrend, absolutely no doubt about that. And we'll have to see whether 2,400 breaks or not. Of course, now the issue is with the slightly weakening rupee, gold in rupees could become stronger, but overall in dollar terms, and you can look at the moving averages, very, very much on the downside. Shouldn't really be buying any investment gold at this point. Could buy for trade, but no investment buying of gold at all at this point. Grasim, okay, so Grasim, again you can see the downtrend has become stronger. That was the tentative line. This is the new line after we got an established lower top. So once 3,300 breaks, then definitely 320, 3250, and once 3250 breaks, then we are definitely headed to much lower levels, and that could easily be even 3,050. So Grasim looking weak. Very interesting, just caught my eye. I am just going to, at some IMRs back, I think almost maybe 3-4 months back, we discussed the worst possible downtrend line that one could draw. But even if one wanted to sort of give some credibility to that and just extended it, very interesting that that's where it bounced off from, and it's just there. It'd be interesting to see what happens, and I think this time if 3250 goes, then definitely 200 rupees on the downside is quite possible. HCL Tech, oh my, what happened on Thursday? Was there some news or something? Does anybody know? Wow, big volumes also. Some rumor, some speculation. Don't know what this is about. So I would rather say let's just wait and watch. Something definitely happened there. If anybody has any info, please update. Okay. And then so on HCL, looks like a very long multi-month descending triangle could be in the formation. very early, very early to actually confirm that, but clearly uptrend is over. I think this uptrend line is now more or less useless. Let's just remove that, clean up the charts as we go along. No need to have anything which distracts us and is useless. And if we go to the weekly side, then you can also see on the weekly very clearly lower tops, lower bottoms. Big hammer on the weekly thing will be interesting, but the short-term moving averages, weekly type, have all turned down, and looks like there's going to be quite a bit of resistance at around the 1615, 1600 levels, and then move down. Balki adds that they announced that they will have impact of Q3 revenue. I didn't get what you're saying, Balki. One sec. Negative news on the IT sector. Okay, that's what Bobby's saying. They said something about, I think, foreign exchange having some impact. Okay, fine. Okay. So yeah, so more and more news like that is probably going to come out. So we'll have to see how that pans out. So HCL Tech, wait and watch, do nothing till either it goes above, I would say, 1650, or if it breaks below 1450, then that'll be a good time to short. Okay. Of course, those of us who are a little bit on the aggressive side, as it goes higher, should look at shorting opportunities because your risk reward ratio becomes more favorable then. HDFC, so again, seems to have a double top right now at 1150, and it'll be interesting to watch what happens. Big volumes on Thursday. Okay, forgot. Thursday volumes are quite possibly because of expiry. Anything higher towards 1140, great to short. Anything again below 1090 would be a good short, all the way to 1070 and then 1050. Right, but I think we've got more compelling shorts, so leave it. HDFC Bank, so none of the banks one should really do too much about. Again, like a double top here, could be consolidation and probably heading to 1000 rupees maybe in the next month or two. Hero Motors, so both Bajaj and Hero showing weakness, and this is now there. I think Bajaj was weaker of the pair, so relatively this is showing strength. And if we look at the trend line, it could easily just break down tomorrow, day after, and that will, down along quite a substantial trend line, by the way, all the way from March. So that's a trend line from March breaking down, and if I think even one day's closing price below that, or if one wants to be safe at 3050, will give you a good shorting opportunity even below 3000, and then all the way I would say at least till 2850. Again, like I reiterated in the earlier part, keep that event calendar, results calendar out, and make sure you don't get caught on the wrong side of some news. Okay, so Hindalco, there you have it, dancing around with the 200-day moving average very critically. It's right there in the middle of this whole dance, and it's a question of going below 150, and if it goes below 150, then much lower levels, at least till 140 and then even 130 are possible. Very nicely poised in terms of lots of resistances on top, so it takes a lot of conviction for it to go beyond 160, and any rise till even 155 should be used for shorting, in my opinion. I don't think it will go up to 155 the way I look at it. Really, what's the low here? It's 149.6. Here the low is 149.75. Put a stop loss just below this, and if that breaks, then even till 145, 140 for a short-term trader is on the cards. Hindustan Unilever, well, there you have it, started to go down very clearly. Absolutely no strength in okay, so looks like the volumes, you can clearly see the volumes increasing as the stock has been going down, and it would look like HUL could be even headed for 700 levels perhaps. That would be one level to watch out for, and then of course that's the other level to watch out for. I think it will break that, and once it breaks that at 735, then 700, where 200 moving average is at 692 right now, could easily happen. And want to reiterate again, that it's happening on slightly higher volumes. Okay, weekly chart really messed up a little bit here. Why is it so? Got too many lines basically. Can't really visualize. Okay, so this is only the price, and you can see pretty big candles on that, right? Okay, MACD topped out, clearly going down, right? Oh, didn't see, usually we don't see weekly, but had we seen weekly here, I hope you noticed this, that we had a negative divergence on the weekly candles, which is very, very clear here, right? So had we noticed this earlier, then this up move something eventually to short it. And on the daily chart, where would you have done that? Probably once it broke this level on this candle on the 10th of December. It was at 810 and we are now at 750. Okay. ICICI Bank just looking like Bank Nifty ditto. Don't sell. Use every dip to buy. IDFC, again same, you can see that sort of V-shape, U-shape consolidation going on in all the financial stocks, and again IDFC has been our play for many months now in terms of buying any dip and building it up towards the eventual creation of IDFC Bank sometime next year. So you know, I forget about the trade, just sip this. In this end, okay, so looking very strong, I would say. Strongest of all the bank stocks so far in terms of its eagerness to move up in a sense, and I think it's just going to look for whatever the next excuse is to move back up as soon as that you know, trigger happens. So yeah, buy Indices. Infi, all right, so just like everything else, just all the IT rather, going down, and so that's a big gap there which has actually not been closed. But 1900, not 1900, 1920 here, once that breaks down, then I think 1800 is quite a distinct possibility. Okay, so maybe even buying the 1900 put or writing the 2000 call are things one could consider. All right, ITC looking weak. This gap here, if you notice, let me just put an oval there, right, clearly has been closed now. Okay, and in a sense this is also looking not typically like we saw in what was that, Dr. Reddy's, I think, yeah, flag. This in a very vague sense could also be a flag. So from almost, let's say, 400 to 370, 30 rupees sideways consolidation, another 30 rupees down will make it go to about 330, 340. Of course this would be one level to watch out for, but yes, it could definitely be something to track. The flag here, I put it right up there, and sideways consolidation before the next move down. All right, so anything taking this towards 380 I would use as a shorting opportunity with the stop loss at around, sorry, yeah, towards 380 and the stop loss around 385, 386, and as soon as it's below 365, then at least, sorry, 365, then at least till 355, 350, and then possibly all the way to 340. Let me put that ITC weak downtrend flag. Very interesting. This one is definitely showing strength. Nice double bottom here. No green candle for the last whole week. As a matter of fact, it's gone up 190 to 125 to 150. That's really, really impressive. So, and MACD is really looking healthy. I think possibly a lot of accumulation going on at these prices at around 150. The stock was once upon a time at 750. So that's a big fall from grace. Wondering if missing. I think this is another stock. Oh, all the way back to almost the 2008 lows, and I think DLF and Jindal Steel. Somebody should really do an FA research report uh, and see whether these could actually be fundamentally good picks that uh, we are missing out on because we are doing so much TA but no very little FA. So this is actually looking good, and definitely no shorting Jindal may actually be a buy. So let me put that in the notes. DLF and Jindal Steel. Query good value buys. Someone do FA depth review. Okay. So that is Jindal. Kotak, like I said, all banks buy, no selling them, no shorting them for sure. May not want to buy them in a hurry. There might be some dip, but no sell them. Even if you are long, just keep holding on to banks. L&T, all right. So weakness just all over the place again. Once it's below 1450, then I think 1400, and then 1300 is also possible on L&T. Hasn't done anything for the last 6-7 weeks, 6-7 months actually. So after the big move from 750 to 1750, wow, in about 8-9 months, it's a multi-month consolidation after almost 2.5 times increase in price. No hurry to buy this at all. As a matter of fact, again MACD week, we'll probably see lower levels, and you can see this part whole of December, the volumes, where the volumes have been increasing on the downside. All right, so avoid buying it, and as a matter of fact, if it's below 1450, may even want to sell it, and then at around maybe 1300 we would review it potentially. Lupin. Okay, so remember the negative divergence we were talking about on Lupin, and if you watch the recording about I think 3-4 weeks back, you'd see it mentioned very clearly, and I'd also mentioned that it'll probably take some time to play out, and it's still playing out in my opinion. So from 1500 it's just gone to about 1406 is the closing. We had a hammer here, but if you looked at all the other pharma stocks, then you clearly saw how much weakness there was, and now we have a tentative downtrend in my opinion. And once it's below 1400 convincingly, then I think 1350, and then who knows, maybe 1250 of this line will, why did I put that? So that's at 1320, and then maybe even lower. And just to point out, we saw quite a few head and shoulder in the pharma stocks, as you remember. This could be another one, too early to say. Left shoulder, head, but and then I don't know if this could just be in that down tick of the head here, and maybe there's the right shoulder happening. So if you see the neckline from 1320 say to 1500, we're talking about again 200 rupees down, so 1100 bucks back to its multi-week life high at this point, right? So Lupin, let's put that also. Weekly chart, head and shoulder, top, 200 down. So I hope you're getting, since all of you are so regular on the IMRs, how the discussion happened about pharma showing weakness in FMCG, and you're actually seeing that only in the last 1 week, and the discussion happened almost 3-4 weeks back. You need to get a sense of the time perspective. We are so focused on the price perspective, we usually lose focus of the time perspective, and because of that we prematurely exit our trades or give up on them or have doubts, etc. So just go review the recordings. They're there on YouTube channel of BIC, as you know. At least view the, I would strongly suggest, I think as a very good exercise, go and look at the recordings, only the first part. And what do I mean by that? Just the sector reviews. If you want individual stocks, of course you can access that, but look at the sector reviews, how the sectors have changed over the last 1 week, 1 month to 2 months, and how it's taken that 1 month to 2 months for the the views that we had to actually play out. And then you may actually want to look at potential trades that you could have done both in the spot and in the futures side, and pay attention to the mark-to-market things. So especially those of you on the mentorship group or doing derivatives, futures, and mark-to-market is one thing that we chicken out on too soon. Just go and have a review of what is possible, what could have been done, and if in order to actually take advantage of that, what sort of mark-to-market leeways you would have to accept and be okay with in order to actually make the money that you clearly see we could all have done on the shorting side, right? So pay attention to mark-to-market, it emotionally chickens us out, and pay attention to the time aspect. Most of you have pretty good, I would say, skills on analyzing the charts, but getting the sense of proportion of time and how slowly sometimes things play out, but when they do start playing out, how fast the money can come is something that takes a lot more time to get a hang of, get a sense of, right? So really turning out to be a good thing these, I think, last few weeks in terms of that particular lesson. So more than the trade, look at how long it takes in time for the trade to actually evolve. That's the key. I know I'm repeating myself, but because time passes only one day at a time, 1 week at a time, we tend to forget so much because there's so much happening every day, and then we lose that sense of time. So think you know, take a step back and get some handle on this, because that's really where, in my opinion, the big moves are and the bigger money is, right? Okay. Any questions, feel free to ask. I'll move on or save them for the end and we'll address that. Okay, so M&M looks like, you know, again, it's been pivoting around that 1250 mark, psychological mark. Earlier that 1250 was resistance. It shot up through that, went to 1425. Now 1250 is the pivot. So we have this sort of range bound move on the stock. It's clearly a channel which is there, and well, nothing great on the volume side, but so it's not a consolidating volume picture except in the last 2 weeks, and we'll just have to see which side it breaks out. So either upside there or downside here, based on I think probably the quarterly results. And who knows, if you want, you could look at the 1250 long straddle for Jan, and you may want to take the 1250 long straddle for Jan, and if it's too expensive, then you may want to maybe, let's say, write the 1350 or 1400 call. I would not write the puts, okay? Write the calls and just write it out and see how that works out, right? So let's put that M&M 1250 long straddle, and maybe write 1400 or 1350 call to lessen the cost of the long straddle. All right, so at least a academic exercise that you could follow through on, okay? Because you know, the result will come, and well, it will probably move one of those levels out, the support at around 1225 or 1125, or the resistance at 1325, 200 rupee band, right? Okay, sorry, this was not 1125, this was 1225, yeah, 100 rupee band. Maruti, so again, sort of a rounding thing. It sat there at 3,400. I think in the mentorship program, Balki mentioned that it's still the strongest stock in the autos from a fundamental multi-month perspective, much higher targets expected, and it's now got back the 50% market share in cars. But you know what, just to make a point here, look at this move. 2009, it moved from 500 rupees to 1,700 rupees, 300% move that it did in a year, and then for the next 2 years it actually did nothing and went back to 1,000 rupees, and then again it's gone from 1,000 to, you know, sort of 1,700, and then cooled off for 6 months, and for all practical purposes now, from the middle of 2013 it went from 1250 to 3,500. Technically, you should expect, or rather we should expect, some sort of consolidation to happen which could last many months, and that simply means that you should not expect big up moves from here, and quite possibly maybe a correction even back to 2,500, or who knows, 2,000 if something really bad happens, the markets really lose sentiment, and then next up move. So from here it will be a circumspect, and if I'm trading this, yes, trade with stop losses, but I would not invest too much in a hurry at this point, given that you've got a great technical up move. Right? Okay.
I just
Yeah, Bobby just sent a link on record sales that are probably going to happen for Maruti. I quite agree with that, but again, I think along with this analysis, if you did a fundamental analysis of Maruti and saw whether it is expensive or not, and then that would give us a better grounding about what we just discussed about, then perhaps at least there's a, let me put it this way, fundamentally I have no clue at this point, and I probably look into it in sometime in the future, but technically there is a call for consolidation / correction on Maruti, right? So fundamentals one side, technical one side. Okay. So what I'm saying is you could buy, it's looking strong, but given the overall market, given what we saw everywhere else, given what we saw in M&M, given what we saw in Bajaj and Hero and all of that, this could very well be a temporary top at around 3,400, 3,500. Distributions could be happening, and I really wouldn't buy it at this point unless 3,500 gets really taken out on really good volumes. As a matter of fact, I would maybe look at these levels very carefully. That's 3,250. Okay, let me just put it there. And if that level were to break down, you have at least a 3,250 to 3,400, 150 band, or a rectangle you could call it, that it would break down 150 rupee on the short side. Easy money, I think. As a matter of fact, unless again event calendar, the more it goes to 3,400, 3,425, you may actually want to look at shorting it, given the overall weakness in the market. Just to again point out, they could come out with stunning results and could just spike up. Okay, so be careful of that. So make sure you're not on the wrong side of the event, and be ready to trade on the Maruti quarterly result day, because even if with a good result, with a negative market sentiment, it might just still go down. So just putting thoughts out there. Okay. If it comes to 3,300, then you have a sort of big rounding top here, as you can visualize, right, from here to here, and that will give us a 400 rupee measuring implication to take it down by another 400 rupees to 2,600, where just above that you've got some nice support, and the 200-day moving average is still there. This sort of move could take weeks, if not many months, to happen. So really need to be patient. But as we've already seen, almost quite often, when the down move actually starts to take steam, you can really go down much faster. So have the patience. Okay. NMDC, again interesting. Clearly double bottom here. Okay. Have to see how it closes at 145, 150. Wouldn't want, it's a wait and watch at this point. Could be a good double bottom, but wait and watch. Okay, nothing on that. Where this comes from? Okay. NTPC, so again, moved from 127 very swiftly towards 145, and then big bearish engulfing there. Again, Thursday's volumes, Friday's volumes really bad. It's a buy above 147, a short below 134. I think just forget it, wait and watch. ONGC just tumbling all over the place. Every bounce is a short. Again, you can see here how the fall is becoming sharper. Tentatively, we've got a very good morning start here at a 330 level, so you'd want to watch for that. And if crude oil falls more, and if 330 breaks, then 310 for sure is happening on the stock, and maybe any move till 360 could be used for a shorting opportunity. Punjab National Bank has been a buy. So yeah, split happened, 200 rupees. That's where the life high on an adjusted basis is. Okay. Alright. Wouldn't really call it that at this point, but it's quite tempting to say that this, no, forget it. I was going to say this is a flag, too many flags. Let's not make up flags. Leave it. Okay, but again, don't sell this or short this. Matter of time before it goes to the life high on an adjusted basis of 275, and then you'll see much higher prices. Power grid, again, looking strong, I would say. Some surprisingly strong stocks, I must say. NMDC, Power Grid. Let me put that here. NMDC, Power Grid. Yeah, could be good buys. Wouldn't want to buy in a hurry given the overall weakness in the market, but you could put a stop loss here below 133, and then it's once above 140, it could easily go to 145, 150. Reliance Industries, okay. So very financially speaking irrelevant news, but they're trying to resurrect Vimal, if we all remember. It contributes less than 1% to Reliance's revenues apparently, but they are trying to resurrect the brand along with the Chinese company and I think some Western PE fund which is looking at getting into it. So anyhow, trying to just revive the good old times, I suppose. But coming back to the chart, I would say wait and watch, wondering whether this is perhaps a pretty good support here at 865. The low is 859 here, the low here is 864, and the low here is 864.65. So could be something. This could have been a nice bounce and happen on good volumes too, as you can see. Right, and then of course it's low volume. This is Thursday expiry, so don't read too much into it. And could be very early days. Wait and watch. If it crosses 910, buy it. If it comes to 860, watch carefully, or 864 rather, maybe a good place to buy it. But for now, I just probably say stay away. And 850, as you can see, is a pretty good 3-year support at this point. Nifty we finished. State Bank of India definitely should be bought. In terms of a weekly chart, looks like a flag. Alright, so nice up move on volumes, clearly consolidation, and move from about 240 to 320. That's 80 bucks, and if it closes that, then 400, and that'll make it go to a new life high. Okay, pretty long sideways move, just a matter of time back to its life high, and then definitely much higher levels. If you've got a 3-month perspective to 6 months perspective on banks, I think a lot of them are giving you some good opportunities to get in. SSLT, back down, metals, iron ore, etc. 200 critical place to watch, 215 good place to resist, then around 217, 218 good stop loss, and then 190, and then who knows, 180 also is quite possible. Again, want to point out how the fall is now happening even faster. Sun Pharma, well, pharma, and again moving to weekly format, and this is the level 2 basically. Watch out for, it's very likely to break down, and then once it's below 786 then 750, and then after that 650 is quite possible. On the daily chart, this is where it would be. very vague, but given the other head and shoulders we have seen in quite a few of the other pharma stocks, can't really call it very atypical, but you know what, left shoulder, double left shoulder, head sort of, and then maybe one very vague right shoulder, but whatever it is, this is the really important neckline, support line, and if that breaks, then 750 is more or less definitely on the cards. And if you take this as a measuring implication, 925 to 785, we are talking about what, how much, 950 bucks, then who knows, 700, and then even 650 is quite possible. Tata Motors, again, you can see the rounding here. Can you see the neckline right there? Okay, we really need to watch for this. What's the low here? 468 exact. And what's the low here? 468.65 paisa. Right? So that is definitely the level to watch out for, and very interesting. That's also exactly where the 200-day moving average is. If this breaks down, then most definitely we would go down much more. Just extending to the left, nothing great. Oh, brilliant. There's a unfilled window here, which should take it down at least to 440, and then if 430 breaks, then to 410. You can clearly see how this has evolved, and yeah, so in spite of the new releases, the new Bolt has come out, been very well received, very well reviewed. Before that, they had that other car which came out, which is outselling the Amaze of Honda. So all that's fine on the fundamental side. So again, you know, highlighting this thing between fundamental news versus technical news, how bearish the charts actually are in spite of improving you know, fundamentals. And it just could have been that the stocks have run up ahead of themselves, have become expensive valuation wise, and the correction is due. So yeah, Tata Motors, let me put that down. Rounding top with a very specific neckline. All right, so good shot, watch and trigger it. SLTP orders only. Okay, Tata Power. So that's the level to watch out for, and that would be 80 rupees. But you know, it just breached through that 80 and nicely bounced back up. Symmetrical triangle broken down. Then you have again the downtrend here, and I really don't think there is. We saw that the power index was quite weak. The only thing that you may want to keep in mind as far as power stocks are concerned is a potential fundamental event, or rather two events, right? So this is now taking support of that downtrend line, and sometimes, not sometimes, quite often, that's where support finally actually appears, and then the uptrend will eventually start. And what I was saying is the two fundamental events that you may want to keep in mind is, one, there is the thing about auctioning the coal blocks again in a transparent manner, and number two is so that's, I think, a month and a half or two away maximum. I'm sure they're probably going to do that before the budget on 28th Feb, so that's another event to look forward to. And the other thing is a potential interest rate cut, which both of these things could fundamentally impact the nature of the sector, and from a pretty laggard one for the last several years, they could now start having policy fundamental macro reasons to actually go back up. So let me just put that down. I think I just put here power stocks, coal auction plus interest rate cuts, positive sector. Okay. Tata Steel. So basically, Tata Power, don't I think, given that downtrend line that it is sitting on, don't you know, jump into selling it. Sorry, shorting it. It could take support and go up. So just wait and watch. Tata Steel next. So that very important and strong support was broken, and then it just fell, uh, and then it is multi-year chart. Oh, how much has happened in this company and this sector. Amazing. Oh, so look at how much in 1 week. High 466, closed at 402. So that's 15% cut within a week. That's what happens. Now looks like a very nice consolidation, 2 weeks, and then maybe another cut. This would qualify as a pretty good flag actually. MACD also weekly going down. And if this breaks down, then another 10% cut at least will make it go to 398, 400 rupees for all practical purposes. Another 40 rupees down, and that makes it at 360. 360 is just there, right? So why is the pink line there? This is a nice support band actually. So anywhere into that is quite a distinct possibility. Again, the one thing with any large of these infrastructure and all that is the interest rate cut. It could have a positive rub off, but I am no longer convinced that an interest rate cut is going to actually turn around the trend. These trends are becoming more and more well entrenched on the downside, and we'll probably see, I think, lower levels, my gut feel. And if China is cooling down and demand supply, and we are doing 5.5% GDP growth, and that doesn't fundamentally get impacted, of course, talking about that, given that people are now talking about Modi's thing, charisma little sort of wearing off, and whether the real actions are the ones that people are now going to want to pay attention to. So just commentary out there which you are also reading. So let's see. So might be tougher to revive India than we thought. Who knows? Okay. TCS. So can you see right on top right what I am seeing? We'll zoom into it. Let's make it weekly. What do you see? Another possible head and shoulder. And this is not good at all. Okay, so again, remember this is a weekly chart, very small but slightly tall enough head and shoulder, left shoulder. That's the head, and this you could say is the right shoulder, or if you want to say the whole of this is the head, and there's a right shoulder, teeny weeny one like the one also. Somebody could say small left shoulder, small right shoulder, and two heads in between. No problems with that. Somebody else could say that's the head and this is the right shoulder. We had a potential breakdown, and then it just turn back up. So whichever way you want to look at it, fine with me. Let's go back to weekly to actually find daily. So that would be the level to watch. Okay, so left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breakdown, and what a breakdown, actually gapped down here, then gap closed, then going up, and now you actually have something very nice and very well timed actually. This is being at the right time at the right place. All right, and what is that? You actually have a bounce up from the neckline, and that could mean any of two things. One is that this was a false breakdown, and therefore you're actually not going to see this go down. It might actually go back up. Okay, in which case much higher upsides on TCS could be expected. On the other hand, this could just be the perfect place to short the stock. Downtrend line is just there. The risk reward is very much in the favor of shorts. So this is how the whole thing could play out. You short at the current price, let's say at around 2,490 or 2,505, 2,500, let's say. You have a really beautiful, nice, good quality stop loss at around 2,575, 2,585, so 75, 80 rupees loss on the upside. And then the real key thing is whether this will break the neckline again. and if this neckline breaks, then you've got this whole measuring implication, which is from 2750 to, let's say, 2450, 300 bucks. So 300 bucks, 2450, 2150, and where does that go? Oh, sorry, zoomed out. 2150 takes us to that level, and let me just put it there. I'll put it as a white line for a reference. Okay, of course it will have to break this important support first of 2260 and then 2150, and then if you look at 2150, it's more or less in the middle of this band here. Okay, so could be a good support, and then who knows even 2000, and this could take a week, a month, it doesn't matter. Again, look out for the results. You've already seen how bad the, or not, I wouldn't say bad, I take that back, how weak the other IT stocks already were, and this is outstanding in terms of the head and shoulder, which is clearly there now. Right, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, or you want to say two heads here, and then the right shoulder now happening, and then that just breaks down. Okay, so looking at the volumes again, wouldn't be too enthralled by it, and MACD going down, RSI went below 30 after a very long time here. If you can, this line. So good. I think TCS, what happened to the other IT stocks? Okay, whatever. TCS, head and shoulder top, very sweet spot for a short with a very nice tight SL. If NL breaks down, then 300 rupees down move possible. This is turning out to be a very different IMR, as you can see. I had expected we'd just finish it off in an hour or so, but that's fine. It's really been worthwhile doing this. I actually thought of not doing it earlier. I'm so glad that we did it. So I think, which reminds me, the new sessions we are planning to start from Tuesday, Thursday onwards, morning market review sessions, I think exceptionally well timed. You'll probably see a lot of action in the coming week. So we are now looking at Tech Mahindra. You can very nicely see something in Tech Mahindra's chart, which is a rounding top, and you've got low volumes here. I know this is the expiry volume, and it could just happen rounding top, head and shoulder top in TCS. This is really playing out quite well. There's a gap here. Okay, there's a gap there. Let me just use that level, and let's watch for that. If that rounding top gets broken, chances are pretty high at 2450, then 2450 to 2750, 300 rupees, again a 300 rupee drop, 2150, right? Almost here. This is a 200-day moving average. This could really happen, and now you can see it much easier. So this is definitely cooking again. On the short side, you can see not so well here on the weekly chart, but you can clearly see that there are dojis happening on the downside, which gives you a second opinion whether a down move is actually quite weak and really not sorry about the train. Just give it 10 seconds. Okay, it's one of those big good trains. So watch out. Remember, again, just to give you a time perspective, mid-October to now, December almost over. So November, December, 2.5 months is how long this has taken to turn. It could just take 3 weeks or 2 weeks, or who knows, less, to come back down to 2200. So some really nice smart shorting opportunities. Okay, let me put that here. TechM, nice rounding top with a nice volume pattern, NL breaks 300 down. Okay. Lots of opportunities to look at markets and TA live in the next 1 to 2 weeks and possibly make quite a bit of money. Okay, Ultratech already commented, so won't say anything. Wipro. So again, Wipro, let's look at the weekly, and you can see that this is a very important level at 497, 500. It's got a double top clearly placed there, all right? And yeah, okay, it's got a double top clearly placed there, and it's, I think, in my opinion, a matter of time before 540 breaks. It's at 547 now. Once 540 breaks, then 500 is a very, very distinct possibility. Again, on the MACD weekly, remember this weekly chart, trending towards the zero line and going below that. So that's even more scope for a bearish sentiment. And now I'm back to weekly, and there's nothing great on the weekly, sorry, on the daily. I'm back to daily, and yeah, again, you could easily see, I think, a double head and shoulder, let's put it that way. So one here, left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, that was the neckline, broke down, measuring implication definitely met, then rallied up again, and then you had a left shoulder, big head here, sort of a breakdown, and then maybe this was another left shoulder. So very, very different. And here is something then to think about, that this neckline has actually been broken and is being tested and is showing more evidence of going down. Can you see what I'm saying? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Now even if I want to, take it down a notch and look at the lows there, then also this has more or less been broken. So that's your neckline band, let's say, right? This is very, very interesting. Oops. That you have a neckline band, a double neckline, which has been well documented in low theory. Go refer to McGee again if you like. And the outer neckline, once it's broken, is a confirmation. So the inner neckline was tested. The fact that it did not break out is even more evidence of weakness. Now the down neckline has again been broken, and if you really want to play safe, 540. You know what? Monday morning, if it goes at 535, you should definitely short this. And you've got fantastic, you could put now stop losses for your stops for the shorts at many levels. The real one, which will probably not get taken out, is above this at 560, 565. Now some of us may not have the stomach for that sort of a stop loss, so review it. And remember, again, this is a 4-month pattern that is in the making, and if you gave it the time, then quite possibly you're seeing this stock easily at 500 in the next few weeks, right? Again, news, events, quarterly results are going to quite possibly play havoc with some trades and might really test your guts. So have that, I've said it for the nth time in this session, have the news event calendar ready and ready to trade. Know what you want to do every day and be very clear what the risks are. Okay, so Wipro, very good. Let's put this here. Double NL head and shoulder, NL tested after breakdown, suggesting how much was that? Okay, we didn't take the measuring implication. Just to be conservative, from 555 to 620, that's 60 bucks. So 60 rupee down move. Alright, that's more than 10%, remember that. Alright, you do that in the future, you're talking about 30-40% returns on your short. Okay, yep. So you just need to point this out and use this. So these are the sort of days you're going to really freak out, right? If you chicken out too early, you would have made a lot of, say, loss on a short here, or your profits will quickly be disappearing, and you put a tight stop loss, it disappears. Next day it's down, it gives you even more stress in life, and you're wondering whether you want to trade the markets at this point. And then you perhaps have gotten out, and then you're so happy that you got out of your short here because it went up, but then you lost the bigger picture, and the bigger picture of 3-4 months of move, and again it's down, and you're wondering why the hell you maybe not have squared out your short. So that's the sort of emotional drama, financial drama that you're likely to witness in the coming weeks. And so just be ready for a very emotional and a financially rough ride if you're taking the short. But at the very least, if you're not doing that, there are two things you should do. Think about squaring off your longs, number one, and number two, at least follow it academically and build the strength of conviction on the trades that are likely to be very, very profitable in the weeks ahead. So finally, we've got Z. Okay, so this is looking strong, that's for sure. Let me put this in that list at the bottom. Z Limited. Okay. All banks buy. Okay. Right. And we've come to the end. All right, great. So 10 o'clock on the dot. Really did not expect this to go so long. I think really exciting. I'm really excited. Exciting IMR today. Didn't expect to find so many textbook patterns on the short side, and a lot of them exactly at levels which are at sweet spots in terms of risk reward, in terms of some very nice stop losses, or rather small stop losses relative to quite significant profits. And apart from the banking sector, which is holding the market up, if for some reason, I don't know, the banks start to move down, then the Nifty is headed to much, much lower levels. Don't know how much, maybe even 7,500 could quite possibly happen if the banks were to give up on their strength, right? Okay, so I would really like to close the session here. Just want to make two announcements. One is we are having the mini tab session tomorrow, so those of you who like to come, do let me know. I think it'll be a very useful, insightful session. So we're starting that at 7 o'clock in the morning. We'll probably go until 4, or if it's really exciting, even later. Breakfast and lunch and refreshments will be there. And the person who is presenting it, Balaji, is an expert on using Minitab. He's a very unique skill set, many years of consulting and working in using that statistical software. So we want to basically see how it can be used for markets. That's one. The second thing is the morning webinars that we are looking at now. So the next one will be on Tuesday. Actually, I'm tempted to say that let's do one on Monday morning and see, but let's do one. So how many of you want to do one on Monday morning? Say 8 to 10, given what we've seen today. Quick review. Balki, anyone else? Sid, Bob. Okay, so let me ping you tomorrow evening. Given on, let me see how in-depth and taxing this mini tab thing goes, and then we'll take a call. But I think maybe the whole of next week, it'd probably be a good thing to do some morning sessions and then actually see action. So if you're coming tomorrow for the mini tab thing, great. We'll see you here, and maybe we'll use some of these things to see what the market is, what that could tell us more. And maybe if there's some breaks in between, we can review some more charts. And we'll announce this for the Monday session, right? Recording should be available hopefully by lunchtime tomorrow. There are 2 recordings I will need to convert and upload now, so probably take a little more time. And yeah, that's it. So again, quick review. How many of you coming tomorrow for the mini tab? Even if you're coming a little late, that's fine. Time to start at 7. Okay, only one. Okay. Okay, cool. So about 4 or 5 of us should be there for tomorrow's session. Great. Okay. Okay, Madhu. I'll see you also. Okay. So signing off for tonight. If there are any questions on any stocks that you have, just keep that list ready. Review them yourself, and then maybe before the Monday morning session, we'll have some time. If you're starting at 8, to go through those, and then make a short list of stocks that you would like to focus on Monday morning, given what we've discussed today out of these 50, and maybe even some trades that you may want to take, and maybe we can review those trades on Monday morning before the markets, and then just see how the whole thing pans out, right? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming at short notice. Have a great Sunday, and watch the recording, and I'll catch you up on either today or tomorrow or on Monday. Thank you and good night.